Hello world, I'm Willie Montague, and this is Americana. This is not about the script they feed you, not the headlines they twist. We shine a light on what they want hidden. This is the story behind the noise. If you're hungry for the real, you have found and is in the right place. This is Americana. It'll be an interesting conversation and some topics. Recovery revolution, don't stress me out. Then we're going to be talking about fitness inequality and reviving fitness in America. What's going on with the presidential test that Donald Trump wants to come back? And we're going to all do this with Levy, all the way from Los Angeles, California. But before we get into this, you already know what time it is. Drum roll. It is time for Willie's Take. All right, everyone, the coffee line. We'll wait 20 minutes for a latte. We'll wait 2 hours for a new iPhone, but we won't wait 5 minutes to listen. We scroll while driving, we post while eating, we talk while never hearing. Maybe the world doesn't have a shortage of time. Maybe the world has a shortage of attention. And speaking of attention, we're going to bring on a fitness professional, actor, and model. He goes by Levy. Welcome to Americana, Levy. Are you excited? You ready?
Yeah, appreciate it. Yes.
All right, so the first topic we want to talk about is don't stress me out. We're going to talk about stress. This is going to be a spin today, you guys. It's interesting. Wellness isn't just about lifting heavier weights or running faster. It's about mental survival. From doom scrolling politics on your phone to being glued to TV news to the constant noise of culture, stress is stealing recovery. America doesn't just need more workout, it needs more resets. Levy, as someone who is a professional in the fitness arena, how does constant exposure to politics, TV, and social media quietly wreck our health?
Well, I think it quietly wrecks our health through our mental game. To be completely honest with you, I think it kind of regulates the emotional nervous system to a certain degree. With that being said, it's very important for the human body to recover at an all-time high, especially after working out. If we were to go ahead and kind of take out just the workout regimen of an everyday movement, us just walking, running, walking in a grocery store, walking to work or walking in work, our nervous system is constantly being activated due to the fact that we're on a constant go. So it's very important for us to learn how to regulate our emotions to a certain degree and to put forth the effort into drinking our water, our alkaline water, things that I know that can help internalize our willing to move forward and recover in a less stress and more freeing way.
So with that, this is my question, because myself included, I am definitely glued to my phone. But I want to know, why is it that we're so caught up in getting away from, because this topic is stress, because this world is so filled with so much hate and so much just back and forth. Where are we ever going to get away from that and just back to just focus on that mental clarity that we need, because we're glued to everything that distracts us?
Well, I kind of look at it as a way for me to kind of quote Denzel Washington a while ago. He did a press conference in reference to anything that you read in the news is uninformed. Anything that you don't read is misinformed. So with that being said, I believe that we live in such a fast-paced lifestyle now. Everything is on our phone. Everything is, constantly being gravitated to us, having hyperextensions in the back of our neck from just having our heads down in this position and then going back and looking back because we're looking at our phones. It's kind of like having the idea of just put the phone down for a minute so you can kind of just smell the roses, so to speak.
Yes. I went to the chiropractor today and I heard so many noises that was coming out of my body. I just knew they were going to roll me over into the grave. But it is a thing because I'm always bent over. I'm always like a horrible bed. But when we talk about recovery, because people need to heal, and I want this to tie in also to mental health. We spoke about this a couple of episodes ago, but what are some of the daily habits when we talk about mental health, disconnected from the things, what are some of the daily habits to reset so that we can I believe we need to get back to a place of just love. What is it that we need to do to reset our bodies?
Well, I think it comes down really to, again, the internal aspect of what you're consuming. So, if you're on a high caffeine diet, I mean, that's not really that healthy. If you're on a alkaline diet, then we're talking about something that can probably benefit you for the long run when it comes down to celery, or if it comes down to cucumbers, or any type of alkaline type of fruit like watermelon of sorts. So, we take the time now to demonstrate, or for myself, I will speak on my experiences, but I do my best to demonstrate my work ethic and demonstrate what it is that I preach on my social media pages, so that I can be more of a leader and not a follower. So I've gotten very in tune with, people who deal with CMOS, or people who deal with ashwagandha, or anything of that nature that helps with recovery. It helps with anything of that nature, especially if you do your research on people such as Dr. Sebi, who was able to drop down to his knees at the age of 80 years old and get up like nothing ever happened, So
let's take that. You mentioned something about leadership, and I want to take this, just move over a little bit with this. You said about leading and not following. Can you just talk about that in the aspect of just life in general? Because we do have a lot of people, because there's so many trends on TikTok and Instagram and Facebook, where people are getting away from just creating their own family culture and dynamics. Can you talk about that, the importance of just leading forward without being a follower?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I think for me, and I can only speak for myself, I found a niche, and for me, it's kind of like you either accept me for who I am, or you don't accept me at all, and that alone gives me the mind frame to lead, to not be a follower. I've never been someone to follow all of the trends. I've always been someone who stayed in my own lane. If you stay in your own lane, you ain't got to worry about nobody passing you, so to speak.
Okay.
So for me, you know what I'm saying? So for me, it's one of those situations where, I lead. The only thing that I'm leading and I'm following is God, and not to get all religious, but that's pretty much my mind frame.
Hey, you can talk about him up here now. You go ahead and talk about
it. Okay, good. Yeah, so I don't follow it. And I know people will probably get all like, structured and kind of hypocritical to the point where, well, you follow people on Instagram and you follow people on social media. Yeah, but that's through material things, and that's through a system. My only system is my Lord and Jesus Christ. So for me, if I go ahead and I'm following other people, that means I'm not following my purpose, and I'm not following what it is that God called me to do.
You just took us to a whole nother place that we wouldn't go. But I definitely agree with that. I am myself a believer. Don't mind saying that, what the audience knows out there. But that is something important, because your faith is what you're saying is leading you. And for those that are listening, that's important. And I'll turn it back over to you, Levy, with that thought in mind, how important it is to lean on faith. And everybody may have a different belief system, but there's something that is greater than us that we need to lean on. And so with that, like, do we need to get this into a routine? Because so many people have stressors. I can find it a lot of times in my abdomen. I'd be stressed out, and I'm like, "Whoa, I need to pray." So what do you would give to other people that say, "Hey, I don't believe like you believe"? What would you say to them?
Oh, that's fine. I mean, if you want to not utilize any type of religious belief, that's fine. Just go on a hike, go on a run. Just get your body moving. Excuse me. So I think also reading actually has the ability of, if you have a favorite book, that you like to read, that actually helps calm the nervous system to a certain degree. If you like to listen to a certain frequency, before you go to sleep, that helps calm the nervous system. If you like to watch a certain type of movie, I mean, let's take it back to when we were like 3-4 years old, that little inner child that we used to always scream and have fun with, while watching, I don't know, Mighty Ducks or The Lion King or something like that. You want to be able to tap into that type of emotional intelligence due to the fact that we're now grown. or at least over the age of 20, 21 years old, and we live again, it goes back to us living in a certain lifestyle now of just fast pace. So our moment of being calm, our moment of being, self aware, so to speak, is important for us to make sure that our intellect is also, demonstrated to a certain degree,
Well, we're getting
internally as
ready.
well as externally.
We're getting ready to go to a quick commercial break. I thank you so much, Levy, with that, because don't go anywhere. Of course, you're with us. But before we go on a break, just that thought he said, reading is fundamental, because, you guys will read memes so many times. We'll follow everything, but get into a book. So get into a good, hearty book and get some stuff behind you. But we have to take a quick commercial break, but don't move. We'll be right back with Levy. We're going to be talking about fitness inequality, and you'll probably be like, what in the world is this? So stay tuned. This is Americana. Social media family, thanks for staying with us during the commercial break. Don't forget to follow us on all platforms. And remember, you can catch us right here Monday through Friday, Xfinity Channel 1623. And of course, I have a question for you on this Good Tuesday. What is one lifestyle change you can make? Let's start today, since we're getting ready to get into a new month. Leave your answers and your thoughts in the comment section below, and let's get back to the show. All right, everyone, welcome back. You already know this is Americana, and I'm your host, Willie Montague, and we have Levy with us today. We're talking about wellness, we're talking about health, stress, but we're getting ready to get into what's happening in America with inequality in fitness. America is building muscle, but only for some. In counties where over 35% of people live in poverty, obesity rates soar by 145% above richer areas. Levy, have you heard of this? And what can you say with this where there is a fitness inequality? When I was looking at this and just thinking about it, like, my God, I didn't realize it. Because if you look in certain communities, you do find more, heart attacks and obesity and all these things. What do you think about this?
So do I hear about it? Man, I see it every day, to be completely honest with you. So, you see it when you go to Starbucks. You see it when you go to Burger King. You see it when you go to any favorite burger spot, whether it's in Los Angeles, California, or if it's back in Orlando or my hometown of Buffalo, New York. So especially, and I hate to say it, but it happens a lot within the African-American community where we are currently very hard-headed, high blood pressure, cholesterol buildup. All of those things have a high frequency within our culture. And it's important for us to make sure that we are, again, like myself, leading by example by making sure that we, for one, indulge in a supplement known as creatine. Now, creatine is something that I believe will help with the cognitive function of the brain. And it's something that, I wish I would have been able to have more education on back in the day. Due to the fact that a couple of my family members, they dealt with Alzheimer's and dementia. So that is something that I encourage people to, definitely jump on. That's something that I think everybody should be taking naturally every day now.
So with that, as you mentioned this, and we're talking about where is it that we start stepping in as a community once again and start, because I'm a pastor. I go into churches. I'm a few extra pounds myself, but I go into churches and I find that these pastors, and it's just, they barely can breathe, but we're carrying the word and the gospel. And so I'm like, what do we do predominantly in these black churches? But what do we do with stuff like that when we're out here with hog maws, collard greens, black eyed peas, beans, greens, tomato, you name it. What do we need? What do we need to do with our community efforts?
Again, it comes down to leadership. I keep kind of like talking that and beating that over the head a little bit, but I think it comes down to our communities having some type of leadership. But also, too, you can't lead a horse to the water and make it drink. You got to want it as well. I can tell you, I can write down a program for you. I can put anything that I can to make sure that I'm putting forth the 20%, but you got to meet me 80. So, it really comes down to how bad you want it. It really comes down to, if you're willing to sacrifice. I think that's another big thing that within our
Yes.
community, or every community really, that wants to indulge in the high quality of what fitness has to offer. Because I think people have a misconception that fitness is just to look good, feel good, because they look at somebody like myself or other people that are on Instagram or Facebook or TikTok, and it's like, oh my God, I have to look like that. And that's not the case, because my body frame and how God and my anatomy is completely different from yours. So if I have the ability to make sure I write something up for you or put together a program for you that's more beneficial to you, I believe you'll be able to follow it. You've just got to make sure that you meet me 80-20, because 80% is in the gym. The other 20%, is what you put inside your body.
Now, with that being said, do you think this is a political thing? Because we're talking about food deserts, and many of those elected officials that's in these counties would say that because of these, inner city communities, whether they're black or brown, they don't have the proper food to be able to be healthy. But I find it to be, you may not want to get in politics, Lev, but I'm going to pull this in there real fast. I find it to be ironic because they push all of this Medicaid and Medicare initiatives in healthcare, but they're not really pushing health. What do you see with this when they're talking about food deserts? Is it really the lack of food or the lack of accountability?
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think it's both. I think it's a lack of accountability, and I think it has something to do with what's being put inside the actual food itself.
Oh, yes.
So if it's like more organic type of a food, then okay, you'll reap the benefits of that. If it's something that's being injected into the actual ingredient itself or into the food, okay, just because you want to gain a little bit extra pounds from the protein, that may have a side effect of some sort. So it really comes down to what type of produce, what type of meat, what type of whatever it is that you're, indulging in to consume food. But I also believe that, yes, it has everything to do with accountability as well. And we live in a day and age where people want to look at it and they don't want to do the work, to get there. They just want something that happens right here, right now, instead of taking the time to work for it.
Now, before we go, we're getting ready to get to our last topic of the day. But before we get there, what is it with this, as you mentioned, about the leadership, about the accountability and getting out there? The next thing that we need to look at is only 25% of the population even have a gym membership. And so real fast, about 45 seconds, what would you say to people that they need to do, even if they don't get a membership? I know people say, I don't got $45 extra, but what would you say and recommend to them in about 45 seconds?
If I had to be completely honest with you, man, you can go to any gym right now. You can get signed up for $1, for $1. Or some people even say you have like a cent. So if you put a penny down, there's all type of deals going around, all these commercial gyms that are around, any type of, Crunch or LA Fitness or any type of EOS type of gym or something like that. They have ways for you to hold each other accountable, and then also get a trainer. If you don't know what you're doing, don't be afraid. Put your pride aside for a minute and find someone like myself who's a fitness professional that's able to help you and guide you, and knows what he's talking about, knows what he's doing, has been in the game for well over 5+7 years now, and has the education and certifications for it to help demonstrate what it is that you need in order to lose the belly fat or lose that extra little fluff that we call when we see our grandmamas or our mamas, jiggling that arm, for that extra food.
Speaking of having a trainer, we're going to talk about reviving fitness. President Trump, back in July 2025, and I know y'all may say he overweight himself, but I'm going to say he did something right here. He signed an executive order reinstating the presidential fitness test in schools, reviving a Cold War era symbol of youth and strength. Fitness is now political again, not just a class, but a national statement. Levy, what do you think about this as we get ready to conclude this topic, just getting people there? What do you think? Is this forcing something on our youth, or do you think it's actually needed?
No, I think it's needed. I have my, my ifs and nots for who he really is and what he's all about. But, the one thing that I can say that I agree with probably be just this one thing.
Levy,
is
hold
because
on,
I
wait,
remember-
pause. Not just one thing. He said this just one thing. I'm gonna let you go. Go ahead. I just had to stop there. Go ahead.
Um, because I just remember when I was in gym, back in the 90s, when I was looking forward to going to gym and putting on your gym clothes and making sure that I had a good time and felt like, I was the best person in gym class, or making sure that I received an A because I wanted to make sure that I outshined all of my other classmates, or I had got, a really good sweat in. Gym was fun. Gym was indulging in the creativity of being an athlete from the very beginning, at the age of 6, 7, or 8 years old. So, this having the opportunity of, him opening up this opportunity for schools to, reincarnate or kind of recreate the fitness industry at such a young age, I think it's going to also help just mentally, physically, and emotionally for younger adults.
So I would say that, he's doing some good things. I'm not going to drag you into this political war that I'm on. Let's say don't do it. Well, I would say that he's doing a little more things, but I'll let us stay on the fitness today and not go on that. But y'all know what I'm about to say out there. President Trump doing some things out there for us people now. But anyway, we're going to move on. I thank you so much. Before we get ready to go, Levy, can you just share your handles and places where people can find you and learn and strengthen their mental and just getting some more information from you? Can you share that real fast?
Well, Willie, I want to say thank you so much for the opportunity to be on your show. If you guys are interested in following me on social media, you can follow me on Instagram at @RLevyNation_. So that's _RLevyNation_. You can also find me on TikTok at @LevyNation. And you can find me on Facebook at Remonde Levy. That's REMONDE. And then Levy, LEVY. Middle name is Leroy, LAROY.
All right. Thank you for sharing that. Before we go, got this about a 35-second question for you. Where do people go next in their life? If you can say one thing to the people out there watching, what would you say they need to do about their fitness in about 10 seconds? What would you say?
Find a floor, do 10 push-ups.
Y'all better get them push-ups and get it going. I got to do it myself. I'm out of breath just walking sometimes, and I'm 37. But anyway, y'all, thank you so much, Levy, for being on the show today. That's a wrap for today's episode on Americana. Thank you so much for tuning in. We'll be back tomorrow, same time, same place, only on AFRO TV. Until then, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep showing up and get those push-ups in. I want to try. All right. Love y'all. Y'all have a good day.